Welcome everyone to this new session, day 26. Yesterday was a good one, and today is going to be fantastic as well. All right, so today we'll be looking at continue with the window functions and be focusing on ranking and row numbering. As you can see here, we have five main functions, but I'm going to be focusing on these three: the row number, rank, and dense rank. Okay, and this is the illustration result we'll be using to be able to illustrate these three functions. Okay, now with that, let's go straight to our lab. Okay, so this is what we did on day 25. So we're going to leverage what we have and then use it to bid for day 26. Okay, all right, so let's quickly do that. So let's run this. Okay, perfect. Now we're still looking at the sales order table. Okay, now what we want to look into is the row number. So I'm going to start with the row number first. Okay, let's quickly do that. All right, and then we just have row number over. You guys know it by now. All right, and then in this case we're just going to be use order by. Okay, order by customer ID. All right, and it's going to default to ascending, but I'm going to be very explicit, and then we're just going to say row numbers. Okay, all right, now let's run that, and then let's take a look at how this really works. Right now you can see with row number, what it does is that it assigns a unique sequential number to each row within a partition with no ties. What do we mean by that? So if you look at this customer ID with 11,000, you can see that they are all the same. However, the row number is being assigned unique numbers. So for example, for the first row we have 1, 2, and 3. The same thing for 4, 5, and 6. The same customer ID, and then we have different numbers. So this is how row number behaves, and it is really useful for things like picking the first record per group or removing duplicate rows. Just keep those use cases in mind. Okay, now let's build on this. Let's go to the rank. I'm just going to copy exactly what I have here. Okay, that way we have less typing to do. Okay, and then we have rank. All right, and then we're just going to say this is rank. Okay, and then we're gonna run that, and then you can see how rank behaves. So what does rank do? So what rank does is that it assigns ranking based on a column but allows gaps when there are ties. What do we mean by that? So basically you can see for 11,000 it's assigning them the same numbers, but internally it's counting some numbers and then continue based off of that. So you can see here it's assigning 1, 1, 1. Internally it's counting 2 and 3, then continues 4, 4, 4. It counts 5 and 6, continues 7, 7, 7. That's really how ranking based, and it's useful for some use cases. For example, say we're ranking items where ties should produce gaps like competition results. You want to use rank for that. You're finding top end rankings with ties included, so you want to be able to rank them properly. So those are use cases that you think about when you're looking at ranking. Okay, so let's move on to dense rank. Okay, let's do dense rank, and then we'll see how that behaves as well. All right, so we're just gonna call this. Okay, so let's run this guy. So with a dense rank is similar to rank, and but in this case no gaps in ranking numbers. So this is useful for things like grouped ranking where you want continuous numbering, or scenarios where you treat ties as same position without skipping numbers. So essentially you have these numbers and then you don't want it to skip certain number. In other words, you don't want it to internally count some numbers for you. You just want it to be continuous. That way you'd have dense rank. So that's really those three functions. Now let's focus on the one of the common use cases for row numbers where you need to do the deduplication. So we're going to use row numbers, and then we're going to partition. I hope that you now understand those three use cases and those three functions and how they are being how they are operating. Now let's say you want to partition by, and now we're just looking at cases where you need to um, use row number to deduplicate certain data set. Okay, so now we're gonna partition by customer ID. Okay, and then we're gonna order this by total revenue, so it's called total due. And then we're going to make sure this is in descending order. In other words, we want the highest sales to be first. Okay, and then we're going to say row numbers per or we can just say, okay, row number per customer, let's put it that way. All right, and then we can run this, right? And then once we run this, I want you to take note, and I'm going to comment out this so you can focus on this this one, this partition, this new row number I'm trying to show you. Okay, now one thing you see here is that it creates a partition, right? It has this window here which is level 1000, and then it's assigning them based on the sales. So you can see the highest sales get number 1, the next one get number 2, and then the next one get number 3. The same thing with this use case as well. You can see this has number 1, this has number 2, and this has number 3. Now say for example we need to choose, for each customer we want to choose the highest sales, right? So in that case, what we then need to do here is that we will just select filter by 1, right? So once we filter this by 1, in other words, we are only selecting the highest sale. And let's quickly do that. So I'll put this in a city. All right, so let's call this revenue as, and then we just drop all of this in a city, and then we're just gonna run select star from revenue. Okay, and let's run that. It's gonna be the same thing. Beautiful. Now the other thing we just need to add is that because we want the total sales, we're just gonna say where row number per customer, okay, equals to 1, and that will be, and then we can, let's run that, and you just see that only 1 has been displayed, right? And in this case we really don't care about these particular columns, so we're just going to select, you know, specific columns we need here. So I'm just going to drop that here, and then this one we're going to alias it as highest sales, okay, or highest revenue, okay, per customer. Okay, so now let's run that, and you're gonna see how this really work well, and boom, you see that. So now all the values being displayed here, they are just at the highest revenue. So for each customer, even though this customer had 3 sales, right, or 3 revenue for the company, now we're only displaying the highest value. And this is a very, very good use case that you would need over time. In some case, this is the best. You may not be able to use maximum because sometimes it doesn't quite work well, and there are some use cases that, you know, the data type is a string. So even if you use maximum, it will be, you won't be able to accurately pick the highest or the highest rank, or, you know. So in those cases you will still need to use things like row number. Okay, I hope this has been really, really helpful to you guys, and I want to say thank you so much for watching and listening. And if you found this useful, don't forget to share with others, like, comment, and I will see you in the next one.